Alright guys, so I thought I'd do my first startup here of my lawn trimmers today. I do a little bit of landscaping on the side, not too much. Probably not going to be doing any side landscape jobs this year, but in previous years I have. So I have quite the lineup, I think anyways, of trimmers right now. These are my 4 main units. I have other trimmers, but they're going to be up for sale. They're not ones that I plan on keeping, and I tend to keep those separate from the trimmers that I use on a regular basis. Anyway, so I've had this Hitachi here for I'm gonna say about 4 years now. I bought it back in 2013, and it's been a good trimmer, and I haven't had any problems with it at all. This one here is actually a Makita, which is the same as a Dolmar. It's a 25.7cc trimmer. The first one was a 21cc. And this Makita here is a straight shaft. All my trimmers are straight shaft. But it came with quite a bit for the trimmer. I bought it on Amazon. And the first one here I bought actually at Lowe's for $200. And it's been a good machine. The Makita, I think it was $250. Something like that. My girlfriend actually got it for me for Valentine's Day, so thank you to her for that. Next up is my Maruyama, which I bought last spring, 2016, and I use it for 1 year now, and it's a pretty good trimmer. We don't really get Maruyamas here in Canada, where I live anyways, so it's kind of unique to find, and as soon as I seen it, I had to jump on it and just buy it, because it was kind of extraordinary to me, because I haven't really seen them here, and I have a friend who lives in California and he's talked quite a bit about them. They're made in Japan. And lastly is a Hitachi, which I acquired in 2014. I bought it off a local classifieds ad from a guy that only used it for 1 year. This trimmer, it has been neglected the most out of all of these, because I don't really use it. It's just sat on the side of the shed for a while, and actually that honeycomb engine shield at the back there, actually a lot of the mud wasps will actually build nests there, and larvae will come up. So I try to keep them clean. I clean them up every year, which you can see like going down to the business end here. They're all nice and clean. I clean them up every year before I store them. And these units have all been freshly fueled, other than the Maruyama and the Hitachi. The Maruyama had gas in it when I was using this trimmer a lot last year, and it had fuel stabilizer, as well as Shell V-Power non-ethanol fuel premium blend, which is a really good fuel. I recommend it for any small engine. But without further ado, we'll get to starting up these machines here, and they all are cold starts. The only one that isn't the first startup for this year is the Makita, because I got it this year. Didn't really use it too much. I used it a bit just for clearing out a few small things, because keep in mind I did get this back in February, and it is the beginning of April now, and we're finally getting to some warmer weather where I can actually use the machine. Alright, so we'll start off here with the Hitachi. Like I said, it's a 21cc unit, full crank engine. This was my first like commercial duty trimmer, and I really liked it. Actually, I had an SRM 230 as well, and I think I bought that back in 15, and it was an okay trimmer. Not as much power as this. Something that's really surprised me about this, being 21 cc's, lots of power, and it's really lightweight. Like, I can pick this up one finger if I had to, which it's really been my favorite trimmer, and it never ceases to amaze me at what I can do with this machine. So anyways, we'll get it started. The primer bulb's located on the side here. Touch the exhaust just to show you guys that it is cold. And the choke on this one, it's opposite from all my other trimmers, so you push it down. Turn the kill switch on here. There is no trigger lock on this machine. And I'll prime it about 5 times. And I'll give it a pull. First pull, like I said, this thing never ceases to amaze me. And we'll let it warm up for a bit. I don't like to rev up the engines when they're cold, especially this being the first startup. Lots of smoke. Once again, I can plug the exhaust there, so yes, it is cold. It's just a full startup. And like I said, I've owned this trimmer since 2013. shut it off there. Alright, so this is the Makita. It's kind of funny because it's warming up here, and it was 26 I think it got up to today, Celsius. And the mosquitoes are out now that the sun's going down, and hopefully they die tonight with the frost. So we'll put the choke on this one. Interesting trigger on this. Switch. The switch is actually like a rotational type, and when you want to start it, you actually depress the trigger, push it all the way forward, and that'll put on a trigger lock. To take that off, all you have to do is just squeeze the trigger and it goes back down to idle. So choke is on. We'll prime it. Keep in mind, this isn't the first startup of the year for this machine, because I did get it this year, but it hasn't been started in a few weeks. Really good unit. I like it a lot. If you want to see separate reviews on any of the machinery shown here in this video, just leave a comment and I'll see what I can do. So the exhaust is cold, and we'll give it a pull. This machine actually has a spring inside here that assists you in pulling the machine. I'm not too fond of that, but it works. No surprise. We'll let it idle there for a bit. I really do like this machine. Rubber mounted engine, as all these are, and it reduces the vibration. The trigger's nice. This even came with a shoulder strap, a stretch, a few other accessories in the box, as well as a brush cutter attachment. I was really surprised at what you get for the money. We'll rev it up here. We'll shut that off and we'll move on to our next machine. Alright, so this is my Maruyama M1 Mt 23L. Seems like these are popular in Europe and Australia. As every time I hear somebody say Maruyama, I think of it as an Australian pronunciation, just because of all the commercials. It's always Australian, and it's pretty cool. They're made in Japan. Something interesting about this trimmer, if you take a look here, you'll notice the high tension lead is actually coming out of the side of the engine shield. I don't know why they wouldn't just run the cable up inside of the shield. Instead, the high tension lead actually comes out of the shield, wraps around the shield, makes another bend here, and goes back to the spark plug. Interesting design, but whatever, it works. I like this trimmer a lot, and like I said, I used this trimmer all last year, and it gets the job done. 23 cc's, full crank engine, commercial duty. I like it. So I'll put it on start. This one also has a throttle depressor here. So I'll leave that on, put the choke on, prime it 5 times, touch the exhaust just to show you it is cold, and we'll give it a pull. And this thing should start up within 1 to 2 pulls. As all my machines, like I said, this one had gas in it since last year, but I do use ethanol free fuel premium with a fuel stabilizer as well. And all my machines, I run them at 32 to 1. It's just a generic mix that I use for my motorcycles, my trimmers, leaf blowers, lawn boy, etc. So we'll go ahead and start this. It is cold, so it will high idle for a little bit. Alright, so that was very good, and we'll move on to our next machine. Alright, so last but not least is this Hitachi 23cc trimmer. I like this trimmer, don't really use it much. It's kind of heavy. I don't like the trimmer head on it. It's kind of bulky, and it has a gap, so weeds tend to wrap up around inside. But it does what it's supposed to. Last year's gas in this machine too. So I'll put the choke on, prime it, touch the exhaust to show you guys it is cold, and put it on the run position. Something I don't like about this trimmer, again, I'm not trying to hate on this thing, but I bought it secondhand, and the guy only used it for a year, and he told me he only used it a handful of times, which it's evident that he did, but the handle's starting to dry rot on it. Underneath, it's actually starting to rip and deteriorate, and I don't really use this thing that much, which is kind of surprising. So that just shows you the build quality on this. It's really, like, it's complete opposite to my original Hitachi that I purchased, which you would think it would be the exact same build quality, because this one was a lot more expensive when it was brand new than the other Hitachi. Anyways, we'll go ahead and give it a pull and we'll see how it starts. This does not have an automatic throttle depressor, so I may have to give it some throttle, may not. I'll try without first. Oh, second pull. The idle for a little bit with choke on. Hasn't been started. I'm not even sure if I used this machine last year or not. Let it run for a bit. Like I said, these are all 100% cold starts. Had a little bit of clutch slip there. Yeah, the build quality on this one just isn't there. It's not up to par with the other machines, which is why I don't really use this one that much. But I am noticing some clutch slippage as when I'm pressing the throttle, full throttle, the trimmer head is taking a little bit of time to actually speed up, and then you'll hear the engine RPM come back down. It'll shut it off. Nonetheless, this trimmer does its job, but it's not mine, like, of choice. I may consider selling this unit this year. Alright guys, so there is the first startup of my grass trimmers this year. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to comment and subscribe if you haven't. This was another video by Pimpin' Pens. Thanks for watching. Take it easy, guys.